Moving to a new country is tough, and many newcomers end up making the same mistakes that hold them back from truly thriving in Canada. Are you unknowingly making any of these? In today's video, we're going to talk about the top 5 mistakes that newcomers make when settling in Canada, and more importantly, how to avoid them so you can succeed in this beautiful country. Whether you're a student, a worker, or an entrepreneur, being aware of these common pitfalls is crucial to achieving your goals and living the life you've always dreamed of in Canada. Canada is a diverse and welcoming country, but it can also be overwhelming, especially for those who are new to its culture and way of life. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of the mistakes to avoid and the tips and strategies to overcome them. Settling in a new country can be a daunting task, especially when you're not familiar with the culture, language, or way of life. Let's face it, Canada is a very different country from many others, and what works in one country might not work here. In Canada, cultural differences can be a significant obstacle to overcome. For example, in some cultures, direct communication is seen as rude or aggressive, whereas in Canada, it's highly valued. Understanding these cultural nuances is essential to building strong relationships with Canadians, whether it's in your personal or professional life. Another significant challenge newcomers face is the job market. In Canada, having the right qualifications and experience is not enough. You also need to have the right connections and a strong understanding of the job market. Many newcomers struggle to find a job in their field, not because they're not qualified, but because they don't know how to navigate the Canadian job market. In some cases, newcomers might have to take a step back and acquire additional education or training to meet the Canadian standards. It's not uncommon for newcomers to feel frustrated, disappointed, and demotivated when they're not able to find a job in their field, but it's essential to stay positive and focus on building your skills and network. Let's dive into the 5 mistakes newcomers make when settling in Canada and how to avoid them. Mistake number 1: not having a clear understanding of the Canadian job market. Many newcomers assume that their qualifications and experience will automatically translate to a job in Canada, but that's not always the case. In Canada, many employers require specific certifications, licenses, or training, and if you don't have them, you might not be considered for the job. To avoid this mistake, it's essential to research the job market in Canada and understand the requirements for your profession. Mistake number 2: not building a strong professional network. Networking is crucial in Canada, and having the right connections can open doors to new job opportunities. Attend industry events, join professional organizations, and connect with people in your field on LinkedIn to build your network. Mistake number 3: not adapting to the Canadian culture and way of life. Canada is a very diverse country, and what works in one culture might not work in another. To avoid this mistake, be open-minded and willing to learn and adapt to the Canadian culture and way of life. Mistake number 4: not having a financial safety net. Moving to a new country can be expensive, and it's essential to have a financial safety net to fall back on. To avoid this mistake, save enough money to cover your living expenses for at least 6 months and have a plan for managing your finances. Mistake number 5: not being proactive in finding a job. Many newcomers assume that job opportunities will come to them, but that's not always the case. To avoid this mistake, be proactive in your job search and take the initiative to reach out to potential employers and networking contacts. Out of all these mistakes, the most critical one is not having a clear understanding of the Canadian job market. This mistake can be detrimental to a newcomer's success, as it can lead to frustration, disappointment, and demotivation. To avoid this mistake, research the job market in Canada and understand the requirements for your profession. By avoiding these 5 mistakes, you'll be well on your way to succeeding in Canada. Remember, settling in a new country takes time, effort, and patience, but with the right mindset and strategies, you can overcome any obstacle. So, what mistakes did you make when you first moved to Canada? Share your experiences in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other videos on settling in Canada.